They say actions speak louder than words. That's true for people. It's also true for movies and entertainment. Yes, Steven Spielberg is praising Indiana Jones 5 after having seen it. However, other studios are responding in quite a different way. Now the question becomes, who did they send? What are they hearing? And why are they sensing blood in the water when it comes to the final Indiana Jones film? Explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of that culture curve. It's what we try to do each and every day here on the WDW Pro channel. Such a joy and such a pleasure to join you on this happy Friday, if that's the day you're watching. If it's another day, we'll make that day just as happy too. You may be happier than those who are working on the Indiana Jones 5 movie and now may be feeling a bit of trepidation based on some big decisions that are coming down the pipeline. You are not going to want to miss a single second of this video. Hang in there as we power through why there is a little bit of fear going on with Disney, with Lucasfilm, and with everybody involved in the making of Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny. What is its destiny? Now, before we hop into this, folks, if you like content like it, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and you can stick it to the algorithms when you click it. We're talking about that notification bell. I had a really good time on the Legal Mindset show yesterday evening. On that show, we talked about some big things that are happening with Disney, and we're going to be doing some follow-up stuff on this channel, referring to why Disney is doing the things they're doing with legal action down in Florida. And you're not going to want to miss those videos either, because what we uncovered on Legal Mindset with the help of Andrew, who is an attorney who specializes in special districts down in Florida, actually, what we discovered is that Disney is perhaps doing some things legally that most of the people online have no idea what is happening. And Disney is taking actions that perhaps are meant to protect their bonds while also taking on the state of Florida in a way that may not have very much merit, but gums up the works. You're going to want to watch those. Don't miss out. All right, but this one is important too, and this is Indiana Jones. It's big time important because it's the ending film, or at least the very close to the end for many major careers in Hollywood. Hollywood royalty is sunsetting with Indiana Jones 5. That would include Kathleen Kennedy. We don't know if this is her final movie as the head of Lucasfilm, but it's got to be close. Harrison Ford, it's not his final movie, but it's probably the last movie that he stars as an action figure. He is now 80 years old, an octogenarian at the time of release of this movie. What a thing to see. And how will audiences respond? John Williams, the amazing composer. Also, this is probably his last full film to compose. He's made some statements to that, but we don't know yet. There may be more to come for him. But needless to say, there's a lot riding on this beyond just money. This is the legacy of major Hollywood individuals. And one of the funny sides of this, too, is that it's also speaking to the legacy of Steven Spielberg. Can people make the kinds of movies that he made? Can they replicate the Steven Spielberg magic of the 80s and 90s? And even the 70s for that. Don't forget that he was starting off earlier than this with movies like Jaws, for example. Now, Steven Spielberg has seen Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny, and he has some comments about it. We're going to pay very close attention to what he says, and then we're going to take a look after that at how other studios are responding. You're going to see a drastic difference. So let's go now to Variety, this by Zach Sharf. Steven Spielberg watched Indiana Jones 5, loved it, and told the director, "I thought I only knew how to make one of these." Now, there's an interesting thing in this headline, and you have to give the trades and the media some credit. They're going to do everything they can to drum up support for this movie, and you can't really blame them. I mean, I don't want anybody to be fabricating stuff, but at the same time, this is a big deal for a lot of people. It is also a huge financial issue for Hollywood and for theaters. And so the trades, the media, access media, legacy media, everybody, they're going to try to ramp up the hype for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, whether it's good or bad. And then afterwards, maybe a month or two after it releases, then perhaps they will begin to tell the truth. That's all part of the business model of Hollywood. And if you remember, when Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull came out, it was the same thing, right? You had all of this praise, all of this, flowery language about the movie, and then months later, everybody knows it really wasn't good. It wasn't what we wanted. The first third of the movie was fantastic, and then the latter 2/3 were quite poor. All right, so let's see what this does. Remember this headline though, because I think you're going to enjoy how this was spun. We'll come back to it. Steven Spielberg has seen Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, the fifth installment in the long-running adventure franchise, and notably the first entry not to be directed by Spielberg himself. The Wolverine and Ford versus Ferrari director James Mangold took over filmmaking duties on Dial of Destiny. Anyone worried a Spielberg-less Indiana Jones movie might not deliver the goods can now rest easy, as Spielberg himself loved the latest sequel. Again, notice what it's saying here, that he loved the latest sequel. We'll come back to this. I want you to pay close attention. Part of what we're doing here on this channel is to explain entertainment, the business of entertainment, the mechanisms of entertainment, the advertising of entertainment. And so you're getting a tuition-free class right here in how they play this game. Watch closely. Here's what Spielberg actually said, okay? So now let me show you this. We get the headline, okay? The headline tells you that he loved it. Then you get the first paragraph. It tells you that he loved it. Now, once they framed it the way they want you to believe that it goes, here's what Spielberg actually had to say. He said, I just had that experience 2 nights ago, Spielberg said at the time 100 Summit when asked what it's like watching an Indiana Jones movie he didn't direct. What a very specific question. And yes, I just had that experience 2 nights ago. Well, how about that? Bob Iger had a screening for a lot of the Disney executives, and I came to the screening along with director James Mangold. Everybody loved the movie. It's really, really good. He does throw in the, okay. It's really, really a good Indiana Jones film. I'm really proud of what Jim has done with it. Now, notice that Spielberg does not say that he loved the movie. Now, he sort of does, right? He says everybody loved the movie. But that everybody loved the movie thing has a little bit of play in it, because he's not saying, oh, I loved it. I thought it was the best Indiana Jones movie yet. Or he doesn't say, I just couldn't believe how good it was. He just says, everybody loved the movie. And by putting it in that third person, or at best first person plural, what he's doing there is he is navigating himself a little bit away from it. But he does say, I'm really proud of what Jim has done with it. Now, that is praise, and we're not going to try to diminish what Steven Spielberg said. He probably does like the film. But to say that I love the movie in the first person singular for Steven Spielberg, that actually didn't happen. He says everybody loved it. Okay, fine. So maybe we're being a bit nitpicky here. I just want to help you see what they're doing here. Now, here's the key thing. Spielberg added, when the lights came up, I just turned to the group and said, damn, I thought I was the only one who knew how to make one of these. Okay, so that is interesting, right? Because you would think that he would turn to the crowd and be like, that was awesome. I can't believe somebody made one as good as I did. That's not the highest praise kind of thing that you would say. And he's going to be expected to say something, and he needs to say something witty. Now, I'm not saying that the film is bad. We're going to take a look at that in just a moment. I have not seen the film. I'm going to review the film. But I just want everybody to be careful to notice that the media will spin this stuff in the most strong manner possible to build hype in every possible way. And that is part of the baked-in business model of Hollywood. Does Spielberg really love this movie? Well, I don't know. I don't know, because Spielberg said everybody loved it. But he didn't say, oh, I loved the film. And the tone is important as well, right? We lose all of this stuff. But all that stuff is lost, and it's condensed into this headline. Steven Spielberg watched Indiana Jones 5, loved it, and told the director, I thought I only knew how to make one of these. Is all of that true? Possibly. He said everybody loved it. Okay, we're spending too much time on that point. Let's move on. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny picks up with Harrison Ford's famed archaeologist in the late 1960s as he's drawn back into an adventure to stop the reemergence of bad guys. The supporting cast includes Phoebe Waller-Bridge, Mads Mikkelsen, and Antonio Banderas. The film is the first Indiana Jones movie since the Spielberg-directed Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, which grossed $790 million worldwide in 2008. And by the way, folks, if you don't think that's going to be one heck of a thing if this film fails to reach $790 million, especially given the gargantuan amount of inflation that has occurred since 2008, well, let's just say that would have an impact on the legacy of Steven Spielberg. And that's why all of this is very interesting. He has many friends working on this. At the same time, it's not going to be a horrible thing for him if this film fails to rise to the amount of money that his last movie made, even if it was poor. Likewise, what does it say if this film does fantastically well? Let's say that it is truly something that everybody's going to love. Maybe it is an awesome indie film and it tops the $1 billion mark. I don't think that's going to happen, but it could happen. And if it tops that $1 billion mark, what does that say about Steven Spielberg? And what does it say about his legacy? Well, who knows? Now, I bring all of this nitpicky stuff to you about who loves it and what does it mean if he says we love it and they say that he loved it. I bring all that to your attention because, as we said at the beginning of the video, actions speak louder than words. And I want to show you what's really going on. You see, what you have to understand when you're watching Hollywood is you have to pay very close attention to what they're doing, not what they're saying. Remember what we talked about. Praising a film prior to its release is part of the baked-in business of the business. They have to hype it. It's part of what makes the money that keeps the whole thing running. It's like putting fuel in the engine. But pay close attention to where other studios decide to drive. In this case, we're looking at Tom Cruise and his movie, Mission Impossible. Let's look at what's happening. Tom Cruise, this out of The Hollywood Reporter by Aaron Couch. Tom Cruise sends new trailer, 20 minutes of Mission Impossible footage to CinemaCon. And here is the key. This is what you need to pay very close attention to. The studio moved the date of the film up 2 days to July 12th. We'll talk about why that's important. It's a big deal. Per his annual tradition, Tom Cruise was dead set on sending a message to impress theater owners at CinemaCon, hardest working man in Hollywood. The actor and producer delivered with a new trailer for Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1, as well as 20 minutes of footage from the upcoming film. Tom wanted us to let you know this is not the opening of the film, said Paramount distribution boss Chris Aronson in introducing the 20-minute scene, but noting that he is not prone to hyperbole, but he believes this film is a high watermark for the franchise. High watermark for the franchise. Note that, all right? Note that's not what was said about the Indiana Jones 5 Dial of Destiny. Again, folks, we're going back. I'm trying to parse this out for you. I know some of you probably think, Pro, why did you spend so much time talking about third person and first person, plural and singular, and etc.? Pay attention to this. They're saying that Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, Part 1 is the high watermark. That means they're saying that it's the best. It's the best in the franchise. What was not said about Indiana Jones 5 anywhere in that article, they're not saying that it's the best. Hang in there. The footage included an inventive chase scene in which Cruise's Ethan Hunt is handcuffed to Haley Atwell's character as they flee police and multiple factions of people who want them, most notably a character played by Pom Klementieff, whose most frightening feature is how much she seems to enjoy the chase and his ensuing mayhem. The film appears to be a two-hander between Cruise and Atwell, who are at odds yet must team up to survive in the scene. Dead Reckoning Part 1 hails from Cruise good luck charm Christopher McQuarrie, who has directed, written, or produced a number of his projects over the past decade. It has a release date of July 12th, moved up 2 days, with Dead Reckoning Part 2 expected for June 28th, 2024. So that'll be the second part of this. It's like the final Harry Potter film. Now, why does it matter so much that they moved the Dead Reckoning Part 1 up 2 days? You're not going to hear this on the mainstream press. You're not going to hear this in the access press because they're trying to play nice with Disney still. But here's why it matters. By moving up the Mission Impossible film 2 days in the summer, they are eliminating 2 days of Indiana Jones having less than stellar competition going against it. Whereas Indiana Jones 5, the Dial of Destiny, had originally 14, that's 2 weeks total, 2 weeks of runtime without facing the next major competitor. Now, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part 1 is actually going up against Indiana Jones 2 days sooner, meaning that Indy has less than 2 weeks of free reign at the theaters. And that's going to impact those premium premiere screens, right? The big screens, the IMAX screens. And guess who people are going to want to see? They're going to want to see these amazing stunts that Tom Cruise is doing. When Tom Cruise is trying to impress theater owners, he's not trying to impress them so they'll put his movie on. He's trying to impress them so they will give his film the premiere screenings as opposed to Indiana Jones 5. That's what's happening here, folks. That's what's not being said in these articles. That's why you tune into this, so you can know what's going on. This is a direct shot at Disney. sent by Tom Cruise straight off of Top Gun Maverick. He wants the big screens. He wants the best screens. And he's willing to go straight at Lucasfilm, straight at Kathleen Kennedy, straight at the Hollywood royalty. It is a shot across the bow from Tom Cruise. Give me those screens. I'm going to eat into Indiana Jones into its run. I'm going to give it less than 2 weeks of freedom at the theaters. That's what Tom Cruise is saying. This is fantastic. It's a battle royale. Oh, I love it. And what does this mean for Indiana Jones? Well, folks, what this means is, remember that number. Remember what we were talking about. And this is why I think that Steven Spielberg was being careful in what he said. He didn't praise it with the highest praise he could, despite Variety trying their best to present it that way. The movie needs to make, Indiana Jones 5, it needs to make at least $790 million, or else this is very embarrassing. Because that's what the last one did. And the last one was not enjoyed by people. It had that huge explosion of support, and then it fell off. This new movie has to make $790 million, or else, given inflation, this will be humiliating to everybody at Disney and Lucasfilm. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the crux of the matter. This is what you've been watching the video for. They have 12 days to do it. They have 12 days to make their money in North America. And why is that? Because once Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning comes out, once Tom Cruise is there, people want to go see those Top Gun Maverick style stunts yet again. And they want to see them on the best screens. That means Indy's got 12 days of good screens before Tom Cruise comes in and wrecks everything. How about that? It is a real battle going on in Hollywood. Remember, Disney has lost their throne when it comes to animation. Disney no longer is the king of feature-length family films. That has been taken by the Minions. That has been taken by Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers may be the biggest box office animated feature film of all time. That's going to come down to how much support it gets out of Japan and South Korea from this Golden Week. By the way, video coming out this afternoon about the Golden Week and what we're seeing so far. Disney's lost the animated crown. Disney has lost several other crowns at the same time. And one of those crowns is very important. It's the idea that other studios were once afraid of Disney. What were they doing? Well, they would back off and say, you know what? Disney's releasing a Marvel's film on this day. We're going to stay away from that because they'll eat our lunch. They used to say, oh, Disney's releasing a Star Wars film. We're going to stay away from that weekend and the next weekend because they will eat our lunch. And Disney was able then also to strong-arm theaters with contracts that said, you're going to keep our movie on for such and such time, and you're not going to replace these movies. They're going to, if they play to an empty theater, so be it, but you're part of the contract. And you want a Disney film. And guess what? That crown is gone now. Because now, the new king of Hollywood, Tom Cruise, he's saying to Disney, I want those theaters. And I'm a big enough dog in this fight that I can go to those theaters directly at CinemaCon. And I can argue that I'm going to be the film to show. What an amazing thing. What an amazing thing to see, especially considering that Indiana Jones 5 is the end, or at least close to it, the twilight film for many Hollywood royalty careers. Kathleen Kennedy, Harrison Ford, John Williams, and more. All of them singing goodbye. And here comes Tom Cruise to ruin the party. I don't know what they're thinking over there at Lucasfilm towards Tom Cruise. I don't know what their opinion is on this. I have to think that they don't like it very much. Maybe Tom Cruise is not going to get to star in the next Star Wars film. Somehow, I think he'll survive. Folks, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and you can stick it to the algorithms when you click it. We're talking about that notification bell. Have you ever thought about becoming a member of the channel? It's the price of a soda and gets you all kinds of exclusive content. You do not want to miss that. And don't forget, we covet your comments here. We care and we respond. Your thoughts really do matter. This should not be just myself speaking or when I have guests on, which is quite often me and them speaking in a vacuum. No, this is a dialogue between all of us. So please drop a comment down below and share your thoughts. They matter, truly. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope that I was able to explain a little bit better what's going on with Hollywood, the mechanisms behind how they pump up movies and then let them fall later once the real reviews come out. Do I know what's going to happen with Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny? No. I will have a review the day that it releases, though. I promise you that. And I'll call it balls and strikes, just like I always do. I'll give you my pure objective thoughts on it. I guess they are somewhat subjective, but I'll give them to you. I'll tell you what I think. And if it's good, I'll call it. If it's bad, I'll call it. Same thing for Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. But the neat thing about this now is I'll have those reviews a little bit closer together based on Tom Cruise and what he's doing. How cool is that? Folks, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Floral, it's time for you to walk the plank.
What? Why?
Cuz you haven't subscribed to WDW Pro yet. Nor bookmark thatparkplace.com on your web browser to get great articles from great contributors.
What?